Welcome. This is take 2, autonomous driving where you should not forget to pray. And I wanted to explain to you this laneless Kale model that's now being pushed. Many videos on the road showing how it can keep in the lane even though there's no middle lane line. And I wanted to show you in the code what's actually happening. So let's jump into the code. This is currently on my new fork. We've started now a new GitHub called Arne Schwark. Let's see how long it takes, to ban us from there. But the thing what's actually changing in the UI when you tick is the end-to-end model toggle. This comes in through planner D, going through the params, goes into the lateral planner. Lateral planner can be found here under controls, libs. Under the lateral planner. Here, it's use laneless. And what you see here, if the toggle is on, it uses from LP, the lane planner, the get d path function. If this is off, it will just pull the path as it comes from the model. So the model knows where it needs to go. So the model doesn't predict the center line path, but the actual path that shall be taken. That's why you can take this model and backdate it also to old versions of OpenPilot and it will work just fine. What's happening here with this toggle is it's not going through this get the path function. So if we go through to this lateral planner, lane planner, we can see what's happening. In the lane planner, we actually have this function, get the paths, which takes in the path from the model, takes its probability, and takes in the left and right lane line. In this lane line, there is also a probability as well. And it checks, okay, what's the width of this road? Checking also at which speed you're going from 0 to 31 meters per second. You'll be able to see that it's 2.8 meters to 3.5 meters is what the code assumes it to be. So if you're driving at 31 meters per second and the lane line width is exactly 3.5 meters, it will assume that the right and left lane is perfectly accurate according to this width. This is different per country and different per region. And so this is a little bit anyway needing to be modified for your driving area. But it's just a certainty value so that we know if the lane line that's being picked up is correct or not. With this, then the model path is taken and updated with the lane path. So we've got an averaging of probabilities. So if the model probability is 100%, then it won't really move too much from there. But if the lane width is 100%, then it will also not move too much away from there. So they're always fighting against one another, especially if what happens is the middle lane line marker is missing. In my old code, I had a function called use virtual middle lane line. What it would do is it would see if the width of the right and left lane was greater than 4 meters, up to 5 meters, it would say, okay, if the width is 5 meters plus, it's definitely going to have a middle lane line that's missing, which is logical if you've riding on a, say, 8-meter path, and you've got right and left. They're perfectly visible. The width of the road is 8 meters, and it's trying to drive in the middle of the road. That nobody does that. But from the code which Comma has written, it will just assume that you need to be halfway centered, which is quite a bit of a problem. What this use virtual middle lane code will actually do is it will say, okay, you need to create a middle lane and move the left lane over to the center. So what it's doing is actually reducing this 8-meter lane to a 4-meter lane, and then calculating it based on that. And especially for Europe, this is very important because the lane width that's greater than 4 meters is definitely a 2-lane road, and you're going to have oncoming traffic. So driving in the middle is completely dangerous. And this part of the code helps to actually move over your car and keep it right lane hugged. And so with this code, it will actually help with the new model because they won't be fighting against one another. The lane lines coming in will be split accordingly depending on how great the width currently is, and it will keep you on the right-hand side. Having the model better is great because the new model predicts how humans would go, and it's just a problem of the lane planner that doesn't have this logic that if there's a lane missing, you just need to add it in. And that's all for today. Hopefully you understood. And thanks, guys, for listening. This is Autonomous Driving, where you should not forget to pray.